The Darkness 2 is the sequel to 2005 sleeper hit, the original Darkness. Join us for our first three-person review, and yeah, I don't know.
I never asked for the darkness. It chose me. But like everything else, it came with a price.
Jackie, this was not your fault.
And now, it's mine to control.
I was a huge fan of Darkness 1.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great game. You know, really can't really find any flaws thinking about it. And Darkness 2, I would say, surpassed my expectations.
Yeah, I didn't really see it being as good as the Darkest one. I thought it was gonna be like right along around it. I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan of the first game, but the character Jackie, was awesome enough to
So cool.
bring me on to the next game, and next game blew me away. So much better.
Oh yeah, I would say 100% better. They improved on everything that they needed to,
I was impressed by how they just kept giving you more and more power.
and that was great.
Yet it was still, it kept getting harder and harder.
Because
I loved it.
one of the main issues in the Darkness 1 was there was no balance between the different Darkness powers.
No.
But in this one, it's like you're all using them at the same time,
Yeah.
kind of, right? And
With
that
the
was,
4 buttons, it worked perfect.
I've never felt more powerful in a game. There are times where you rip off a door, you run in, and everyone's like, "Oh!"
Yeah.
Like, they all scream, and you just slaughter,
mass murder.
Yeah, it's great. I've seen a few people say that in the Darkness 2 they downgraded the story a little bit, but I, for one, think it's actually better. It's a story of revenge and a story of love, and there are moments in the game where something like bad will happen, and I actually feel like sorrow, like I am sad. Like I got that attached to the characters, and everything's well written. The story, the dialogue.
I was afraid they were going to shoehorn the love story into it, like kind of have like that cheap, oh, you're seeing your dead girlfriend ploy that like every game does these days.
Oh, not again.
Yeah, but the way they pull that off was pretty interesting, and kept me like, oh, this is important. You know, I have a goal here. And the acting, I will say, it's really good, the acting in some characters, but it does come with its cheesiness. But I think that cheesiness was there purposefully, you know, because the Darkest one had its cheesiness.
Yeah.
This one does. Like, hey, Jackie, you lost some weight in your balls. How many times have you heard that?
The fake New York accents. Yeah. We don't talk like that. Maybe a little bit.
But I love it.
Yeah, it worked. Yeah, I wasn't like, oh, this sucks, you know.
But it shows the attention to detail, though, like the small little quips that some of the mobsters like utter when you walk by, like when he's like, hey, like he's taking a piss, and he's like, hey, the doctor told me not to hold anything heavy. Can you come here and hold this for me? You know,
Yeah.
So great. The first one was really just gritty and dark, and really, I give the first one props for having the most realistic looking New York subways. But this one totally goes the opposite and looks like a comic book.
There's I think the carnival level, when you actually look up at the sky, the clouds look straight out of a comic book. They actually look like they were drawn in
Like
there.
right off the page.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Which, for those of you who don't know, The Darkness was based off of a Dark Horse comic series. I have never read it. Have any of you?
Nope.
Read a couple of them. It's very different, but it's okay. It like takes really good liberties, I'd have to say.
I think Nolan North replacing Jackie Estacado was fantastic.
Yeah, that was the first thing I remember when I played the demo a couple weeks ago. The first thing I said to you, I was like, oh crap, his voice is different. But it ended up being better, yeah.
It sounded like a real time progression. Like, this is what he would sound like this many years later.
That's what we were talking about.
It sounds like he's mature and he's not like a punk ass anymore like he was in the first one.
In the first one, he was a hotshot. He talked like this. And now he, sounds like a regular guy.
Mike Patton also returned for the Darkness. He did excellent voice work as usual.
So he just gives you chills.
Sounds insane.
Yeah.
He's like the perfect voice for like a bad guy. Like, I don't know why he has been in every Disney movie as the villain.
Yeah.
He doesn't. I think he's only done voice acting in 4 different things.
Wow.
And that's it. He doesn't do it as much as he really should.
Let's not beat around the bush. Game is a little short.
I have not finished it yet, so I can't comment on that.
We won't spoil anything for you.
Oh, thank you.
Very short. I mean, what was it? 5 hours?
About
5, 6 hours.
But the story is so good that
It tells such a good
I'm
story.
completely fine.
Yeah.
And they get it all in there.
And it's solid throughout.
But there's also the co-op mode. I think it's called Vendetta mode or something. But the co-op mode actually ties in, like it fills in the gaps of the stories. I didn't beat the co-op mode, but I know it's not that long, and it's pretty much just like story mode, run around, kill these amount of guys, reach your objective.
It's a little bit more of a content boost.
Now, with the darkness powers that you have, did you feel that like the weapons were balanced? Like, do you think that those were? Did you even really need weapons? If
yeah, I think you do. I mean, I definitely found myself using like running out of ammo and like in certain like big firefight situations. Like there were a few like ambushes in the game, and if I had been there with just darkness powers, there's no way I would have survived it.
Now, I don't know if this was just me, but like every time I fired a gun and shot somebody, like it had impact. Like it felt visceral.
Really feel it.
Yeah.
I was telling him, I said, the shooting feels as brutal as using the darkness powers on
Yeah,
someone.
like you're murdering somebody with a gun. Like
It feels like you are. Yeah, it's great.
It's great. I love murder.
The soundtrack is really, really good. It just has a lot of epic orchestral parts, but it also has a lot of
Some 90s jams.
Some 90s jams like interspersed in it, just in the background. It is a really nice touch. I really couldn't find anything really wrong with this game.
I loved it, but if I had to like just pick one of the things that I hated the most was like most of like the stuff that people shout at you, it kind of sounded like they recorded maybe 5 or so of the same lines and they just reuse them over and over again. Like I'm hearing the same person screaming at me throughout the 4 levels that I've played so far, you know.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And some of the AI, like, have you noticed that like you're in a huge gunfight with another gang,
And
you got darkness powers, and a guy runs at you with a bat?
Yeah.
Like, what was he thinking?
Hey, stab me! Like that's it. You will be a little lost if you jump into this game and not play the first one.
Yeah, you definitely gonna want to catch up on the Darkness 1 first.
So that's how we feel about the Darkness 2. We really do love it. Don't have a lot of complaints about it. Most importantly, let us know what you guys think in the comments. We really want to know who's playing it and what you guys think of it. And that's pretty much it.
We've come for the darkness, Jackie. Give it to us! You want it? Come and get it.
I'm sorry I smell like chicken cutlets.
That's okay.
All right.
Chicken cutlets is a good thing to smell like.
Yeah.